Let's stay with local government matters. The South African Local Government Association is holding the annual Local Government Governance and Performance Management Seminar. It's today and tomorrow. The fifth installment is being held under the theme anchoring the professionalization of local government on effective governance and performance management systems. And this, of course, comes at a critical time, as you've seen in that story that Natasha has done, of just how difficult things are, particularly when you look at what is happening in municipalities, some of them governed under coalition arrangements. Let's speak to Michael Chauke, SALGA's governance specialist. Thank you so much for your time this evening. One can imagine how local government has evolved since the first seminar, in fact, you held. Who are you targeting?
Thank you very much, Bongiwe, and good evening to your viewers. In terms of our seminar, it's quite a range role players in terms of governance and performance management in municipalities. This includes mayors, speakers, chief whips, municipal managers, Section 56 managers, IDP practitioners, audit executives, audit committee members, internal auditors. So it's a broad range of players within the governance space and performance management space, precisely as a way for us to address the very challenges you were talking about in the earlier segment around coalitions and other governance and performance-related challenges in.
And I'm going to get to coalition arrangements in just a moment, but there's another challenge at local government level, and that's professionalizing, local government, which is quite critical. I mean, you look at how some officials deliver services in a manner that is partisan to some of the political parties that they belong to, which may lead to a crisis at service delivery level. Are you touching on these issues, and how are they being resolved?
Yes, we are very much touching on those issues. If you look at the theme of the seminar itself, it's about anchoring professionalization for effective governance and and performance management. So it's a key focus for us as organized local government in terms of how do we get to see professionals being employed within the sector, competent people who are qualified, and for them to discharge the responsibilities that they ought to be discharging, that municipalities will address the challenges faced by community members on an everyday basis. While we're still on the issue of professionalization, SALGA will be holding the local government professionalization in Durban in March. So this is part of the building blocks towards that in Durban. We want to address through a whole of society approach with various stakeholders, how do we get municipalities to be we can then address issues that face community members on an everyday basis.
Especially when you look at the issues around, the competency levels and how then, as a result, we sometimes do see some of what the Auditor General then flags. But, the seminar comes at a time when the country is facing what, even your president has called a coalition crisis. And we've seen in the piece that Natasha has done, which really looks at how people say they're impacted by this. What is happening in various councils is also something that has raised the alarm bells when it comes to the chaos at service delivery level. What has been your own assessment in this regard?
We are extremely concerned about the emerging trends around coalition governments, but it starts from about the government elections and local government but coalition governments have been there even before that time. But what we have tried to do as organized local government, we have come up with a framework that ought to be able to address some of these issues around how do we better manage coalition governments, the kind of processes, and when political parties do enter into coalition agreements, how then they must be transparent so that the public can then utilize those coalition agreements